The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has entered one of its most precarious phases. Russia's intensified meat grinder tactics, which rely on a high tolerance for casualties, overwhelming numerical superiority, has started to accelerate territorial gains. And despite sustaining over 700,000 casualties and losing significant military assets, Russia has managed to capture approximately 1,200 square meters of Ukrainian territory this year alone, doubling its gains compared to the previous year. This advance has been particularly noticeable in the Donetsk region, where Russian forces have crushed some of Ukraine's strongest units. North Korea has escalated its involvement by sending 10,000 troops to support Russian forces, primarily in the Kursk region, and this controversial partnership has reportedly been reciprocated with Russian oil and advanced military technology. And while these troops are being integrated into Russian formations, it's anticipated that they will soon engage directly in combat against Ukrainian forces, further straining Ukraine's already stretched military. Indeed, the people I've spoken to suggest that they've already seen North Korean troops active in the Kursk region. Ukraine is under immense pressure, facing a larger and better equipped adversary, even if morale is low in the Russian ranks. The US and UK have stepped up military aid, allowing Ukraine to use long-range Storm Shadow and ATACMS missiles on Russian soil, and these strikes have targeted Russian logistics hubs in Kursk, highlighting Ukraine's attempt to maintain its hard-fought territorial gains. However, experts caution that these advanced missiles, while impactful, are too limited to supply a significant shift in the conflict's momentum. Ukraine's counter-offensive earlier this year in Kursk provides a bargaining chip for future negotiations. However, Ukrainian forces are increasingly fatigued, facing manpower shortages and struggling to recruit because of the open-ended military service terms. The attritional nature of the war has pushed Ukraine to the brink, forcing them to consider drafting additional troops. Indeed, if you meet troops in Ukraine, most of them are middle-aged or older. The younger troops, so many of them have been killed, and of course there's a large number of Ukrainians who have left the country, who are students or whatever. For Vladimir Putin, the conflict remains a high-stakes gamble. Russia's inclusion in occupied Ukrainian territories in its UN greenhouse gas inventory is part of a broader strategy to legitimize its annexations. The Kremlin's readiness to ensure that it will win, to accept high casualties, economic sanctions, has enabled it to sustain military gains, leaving little incentive for Moscow to enter meaningful negotiations. Putin's use of experimental hypersonic missiles further underscores Russia's aggressive stance and its willingness to escalate. The use of gas by Russian troops also is a red line that Putin has crossed. Donald Trump has signaled a desire to mediate the conflict, considering appointing his former intelligence chief Richard Grenell as a special envoy to Russia, to the Russia-Ukrainian negotiations. And while Trump has vowed to swiftly end the war, his strategy is unclear. Ukraine hopes to solidify its defences and reclaim some momentum before Trump assumes office in January, fearing that his administration may push for concessions that favour Russia. The war's impact extends beyond the battlefield. Millions of Ukrainians have fled their homes, creating one of the largest refugee crises in modern history. Russia's systemic destruction of cultural, medical, educational, artistic infrastructure, coupled with allegations of war crimes such as the execution of Ukrainian prisoners of war, the execution of civilians in Bucha, paints a grim picture. The inclusion of Ukrainian territories in Russia's greenhouse gas inventory sparked outrage at the COP29 summit, with Ukraine accusing Moscow of undermining global climate efforts. The coming months are critical. Ukraine aims to hold the line through the winter, banking on muddy conditions to slow down Russian advances. but the trajectory of the war suggests that Russia, emboldened by recent gains and external support, may continue its grinding offensive. Even with Trump's potential intervention, the prospect of a lasting ceasefire is uncertain. For now, the conflict is poised to drag on, with both sides enduring immense costs in pursuit of their goals.